Good afternoon. You know, when all these very educated men and women have spoken, and somebody just tells you to stand at the tail end and say something, all data has been given, everything that they needed to say has been said, a wise woman would just say, we go for lunch. And because we are here for mental wellness, I think we can do something so that you don't sleep on me, because it is already lunchtime. So if you are happy and you know, clap your hands. If you are happy and you know, clap your hands. If you are happy and you know, and you surely want to show, if you are happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, sit down. Thank you very much. You know, a mother will always know when the children need to go. I could tell by the way you are fidgeting, we have talked for very long. But I'll make sure, because I'm a mother and a pastor, we have a Quresha. So the acting CEO of Nacada, Professor John Muteti, the CEO of the Nation Media Group, Mr. Stephen Gitagama, the Executive Director of the Institute of Human Resource Management, Ahmed Quresha Abdullahi, the CEO of Kenya Counselling and Psychology Co-Association, Professor Catherine Gachutha. These are very hard names. Where did you get them? Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Student Affairs, AMREF International, Professor Dr. Tamari Esho. I'm telling you, these are good names. Professor of universities and other members of the faculty, speakers and the panelists, all health counseling and psychology professors who are present here today, development partners, distinguished and invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be here today to address such a distinguished audience on a subject matter that is critical in the times we are living. Mental health and mental well-being know no class. It doesn't know age. It doesn't even bother to know the boundaries. And therefore, it is crucial for each one of us to be aware and to know that the national economy and progress cannot make any advancement unless we address this matter. Our discussions and deliberations this morning are enriching, genuine, and a serious call to action. Indeed, the mind and its functions must be guarded and guided to profit the owner and humanity. It is never too late to address mental illness, and we have been so told it is okay not to be okay. We must be deliberate and commit to accept reality that mental illness will be found at home, in our schools, and in the workplace. We must also find a way to mitigate the way we do things and make sure that this mental illness does not destroy a nation and even the nations of the earth. And we must find, therefore, a way to mitigate and to invest in family values and family cohesion. And we must also give adequate maternity leave. That is my suggestion. And rethink the husband and wife workplace proximity or locality. Our mental well-being we will start from when we are in cradle to the time we go to grave. And therefore, as a Christian, I will tell you that Proverbs 23 verse 7 says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Therefore, speaking and directing our discussion today, as the national media has done, and I really commend you, to mental wellness, it means we are addressing the whole being. We may speak and say that mental health needs to be a human right, but I'm just asking myself, so if we withdraw it, what do you leave? So mental health, it's actually the being. And therefore, we must, and we must continue to engage and to see how this being is going to live. It is not a human right, it is actually the very being of humanity. And you know, when you have a mind that is fearful, a mind that is worried, a mind that is anxious, you will not be able to have a happy being. Our fears, our worries, our concerns will always affect the mental health. Our emotional, psychological, and social well-being are affected by the mind. The fact is, mental well-being affects how we think, how we feel, and how we act. It also helps to determine how we handle relationships with others and how we make healthy choices. Mental health is therefore very important at every stage of life, from childhood to adolescent and through adulthood. The greatest counselors that I can recommend to you are your parents, family, and the family environment that you live in. Because if they can do their work and do their work well, then I am sure we will be addressing what to do with all these counselors and psychiatrists. For our children, as you may know, fear, family conflicts, violence in their homes. They fear that their husband and wife or their parents, the mother and them father, will separate. They fear that they will divorce. They fear and they blame themselves when such things happen. And that is the beginning of mental illness for the child. And therefore, if it can be addressed at the family level, you will find that you will pick up a very mature child who is able to handle the stresses of life and even of the workplace. Our greatest fear, as I've said, with our children is failing to please their parents. Children work very hard to make sure that their father is happy, their mother is happy, and everything that those parents say, it is so important. I'm reminded when I was very young, what my mother said actually has made me to be here and studying confident and strong. Because she told me one day you'll become a great person. And what you need is to work very hard, focus, and forget all what other people say. Just listen to what I tell you. If they speak negative things to you, just pray and remember what I have said, that one day you'll be successful. And sure to their words, and have been successful in through many challenges. But those challenges, when they came, the first thing I heard was the words that my mother spoke to me. My father died when I was very young, and therefore I may not remember what my father said, but I remember what my mother said. So speak life and create right family environment. Speak with care and love and reassure your children of their ability and make sure every time you are speaking success. Some of our uncles, they kept speaking and they would tell us not to speak. Because when my father died and my mother was widowed with 8 children, what happened is that they would tell us not to speak where they were, and eventually something happened. That's why we are saying mental health must be dictated and guided from the family. They used to tell us, don't speak. And it took me a long time to be able to speak in public. I would start sweating profusely when I would stand before people. Why? Because I could hear the voices telling me, you don't belong, you are not supposed to speak. And my tongue will just stick to the walls. And therefore, it is very important that family becomes the unit that counsels and brings a healthy child. So, to discuss mental health is to address the total being, our joy and success, and our failure. The mind is everything. For what a mind sees and conceives will determine the achievement and even the decisions that you make. I can tell you, I don't swim because I was told that when you get into those deep waters, you will drown. I've had pools, and I look at them, and the only water I want is in the basin. So our success and failure is configured within our minds. The decisions we make in our mind then must be, it's made available to the natural or the reality of this world in form of and they will form the responses and the reactions we give to everything that we do. I therefore commend the effort that the Nation Media Group is in collaboration with the Institute of Human Resource Management, Kenya Counselling and Psychological Association, the Nacada for organizing the second edition of the Mental Wellness and Counseling Conference. This year's theme, promoting mental health as a universal human right. It resonates with our national need for a healthy and productive people. I want to jump some of the statistics because they have already been given about outpatient, and I say that in Africa, mental health is not fully understood, especially in the family setup. When you find quarreling parents, a shouting sister, a violent brother, or an angry aunt or uncle, we justify their behavior and do not think deeper about the reason behind their actions. Sometimes we isolate them and which further aggravates their healthy condition. Sadly, we realize they were mentally ill when they do something very grave. This includes women who suffer postpartum depression soon after giving birth. Their partners do not realize the mother holding the newborn has a mental issue that could endanger the innocent infant. Research has shown that good health is central to our happiness and well-being. It is a bigger trigger to economic progress. A healthy population is the greatest resource of any nation. A healthy population lives longer, it is productive and contributes to the economic progress. For 1 to be healthy, they must be in a state of good physical, mental, and social well-being. No nation can achieve any meaningful progress if its people are not healthy. It is in this realization that we must give priority to the health of our population for the stability of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I encourage media houses to join the nation media for formidable campaign on mental health. As it were, the media is a powerful tool that influences the society. I'm very glad today because we are talking of media doing something that is progressive and that which is addressing the basic thing that is affecting the society. They are not bringing bad news. This time, it is good news. The stories you publish, conversations you frame, the agenda you set will save many from suicide and depression. You are doing a great job, and I must commend you. When you do wrong things, we always come for you. But this time, we are commending you for a good thing and a well-organized conference. I also take a special recognition of the human resource management company heads and directors who are here today. Instances where the fundamental concept of mental health is neglected, productivity dwindles. If workplaces are not safe spaces where we feel safe, we will never feel safe anywhere, because the workplace is the place where we stay more than even our homes. And therefore, the understanding of HRs and understanding of companies who have employed human beings, you must know that your productivity and profitability will depend on how you invest in your personnel. No one, not a single manager, director, or CEO should imagine that a mental health case is far away from them. I worked in a finance industry for more than 20 years. I have also been in business, and all these places which I jangled and I served, I jangled and also served my family as a wife, as a mother. Sometimes the pressure of work, business, and family would drive people to have mental health issues. I therefore encourage all employers to be mindful of their employees' welfare and offer mental support. The workplace, as we recognize, is a significant environment where mental health can either be nurtured or neglected. Let employees feel safe, heard, and cared for. Ladies and gentlemen, let me share briefly on my passion and vision for the nation that aligns with this conference. Since coming into office, I have worked steadfastly to uplift, to restore, and to dignify the lives of the vulnerable populations. One of the pillars that I have, and many of you know me for, is a boy child. And I said, I will speak this boy child until when you wake up, you will say boy child, boy child. When you see me, you say boy child. And there is a reason to it. If you are going to have a good father, you must nurture the boy child. If you are going to eliminate the gender-based violence, you must create an environment and you must nurture a good man. You cannot disconnect a man from his emotions by telling him never to go where the human beings are. When it is cold, you tell them to go outside because they cannot sit near a fire. They are not women. Whenever there is something and they want to express an emotion, you tell them they are sissies. And anytime something has to happen that may look weak, you tell them to remain strong. And my boy children have really suffered, and many of them are in mental health. Not because they wanted it, but because the society and community has driven them there. And you must get them from where you have driven them and realign them with their dreams and their vision. That I have committed. Because if I mitigate the case of my boy children, I have addressed the case of the girl child. Because that man you see out there is the husband, is the father, is a leader that you are going to have in the future. And therefore, as we lift the girl children up, we must also lift the boy child up. And they must live together. Access education, health, and all manner of utilities and facilities that the government offers and community offers, because they are equally important. As a mother, when I went to the maternity, I felt the same pain when I was giving birth to a girl and when I was giving birth to a boy. And if we can bring both male and female in the right way, we are going to have balanced families. And if we don't do this, we will only have ourselves to blame. And that's why you find that I've been going to the dens, because that is where you are finding them. And as a mother, I am not worried. Many people ask me, why are you going there? Don't you know these people are dangerous? These people can knife you. I don't know they can do this. I told them, it is impossible for a mother to love a child and the child to harm the mother. And I have been there. And I can tell you for free, what they have been lacking is love and care by the society. So we must have a mindset that will change the world, and that is to go and fetch our children from the gutter, from those dens, and turn their lives around to become a productive citizens. And let their dreams also be varied, because the dream of a man and the dream of a woman, they both connect to create a better society. And if you may go to the data you have been given, 3 out of 1 of the suicide, they are men, because they don't speak. And I want to be their advocate. I will help them to become confident, to speak. And what they don't say, they can tell me, I'll say it. Until we start knowing that these men need you. These men are shouting in silence, and they want to be heard. They want to be loved. They want to be nurtured, and they want to be cared for. And the moment you do that, I am very sure addictions that you have seen will go down. Sometimes they go out there to drink. Now I'm advocating for you, boy child. They go drinking because they are fearful. And some of them are violent because they are feeling threatened by a sophisticated, educated, and well-resourced woman. So instead of seeing you as an asset, they see you as a liability. And they are forever fighting for nothing. So my boy children, stop fighting my girl children. They mean well. And they will be mothers to your children. And therefore, I want to conclude by saying I am so grateful that you asked me to come here to champion the mental health, and even to imagine that this is what has happened before and now. I think we should even get it, as they are saying, to become a daily conversation. We must drive this narrative to the level that we don't even lose our children, especially in the university. You heard me when I was speaking to them, and I was telling them, the parents are actually afraid of their children. Because every time they become so fragile, you speak to them, they go commit suicide. And so sometimes we are so tough trying to make sure you don't go anywhere so that we watch over you. But what I would ask our children, I ask the community, is that we have a conversation. We have a dialogue that we will address this mental health. Because one, we don't want to lose our children. We don't want also to lose our parents, because the parents are under so much stress. Actually, they are the ones who are having more mental problems than their children. And therefore, we must find a place of convergence. We must discuss this thing. And I'm very sure once we start the discussion and the engagement, like it has been started here by the national media, I'm sure things are going to change. May God bless you. May God honor you.
Pastor Dr. Dorcas, we can commission a request if you could remain on the stage as the nation leader group.